Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Ghosts and Horror Stories video. As always, I do these entries from the reddit.com website. They're from a subreddit called Free Horror Stories. I'll include the link for it below in case you wanted to see the actual story itself and look at some of the comments associated with it. But this one does have to do with yet another supernatural paranormal encounter, this time involving a haunted house and apparently an entity that was specifically going after a family member. It was pretty creepy when I was reading this information, and afterwards I'll include my own thoughts on this and then also an encounter that a friend of mine had that was kind of similar associated with this. So I'll mention that again in a little bit later. It comes from a user called Twilight Dreamer 87. They posted this 2 years ago. And the title of it is called My Parents' Haunted House. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the information associated with this story. And again, I'll get my thoughts on it afterwards. So this is what they posted. This is the first time I am posting anything online about this. I am a 31-year-old woman, married, and recently moved back in with my parents due to moving back to the town I grew up in. My husband and I are taking our time looking for our own place due to wanting something nice in the area and that is usually hard to find. This story takes place in my parents' house starting back 10 years ago. So a description of the house for a bit of content: it's a 2-story brick-domed house in city limits, but still surrounded by nothing but woods. You have to go through a garage that leads into the kitchen with the first bedroom to your left. Past the kitchen is the main living room, and to the right is the hall that is very open. In this area, you will find the main dining room and second living area, but if you continue straight, you will see the staircase to your left, and even further straight is my parents' bedroom and bathroom. Finally, going up the stairs, you will come to the third living area. Yes, this is a huge house with 2 sets of French doors side by side that lead to the outside balcony. And then going straight, then a sharp left, leads you to the other 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. This is where the story takes place. So the first time I stepped foot into the house, I immediately felt off, like something just wasn't right. I felt a presence, but I didn't know what or who it was. I brushed it off thinking I was just reading too much into it, and I continued to feel this for the next couple of years, and because of this, I didn't much enjoy visiting them. My parents liked to gamble a lot back then, so they would ask me to babysit my baby brother and sister one day on the weekend. My boyfriend slash now husband loved them, so he would always babysit with me. The first few times, I really didn't pay attention to the feeling I would get because we would be busy playing or eating with the kids. After that, things kind of chilled out and we'd end up watching movies until it was time for us to go to bed. Now, my husband is a freak of nature. It's like he falls asleep the second his eyes are closed. Me, on the other hand, it takes me forever to get comfortable enough to wind down in my mind. I also don't sleep well, even when I finally do get to sleep. This night was the first time I saw and heard something in this brand new house. In this room, the bed is facing the doorway, but not directly in front of it. And so with the double doors open, you can see the front of the staircase and all the way down the hallway, as long as the light is on, that is. This night at least, only one of the hallway lights were on. So I was laying in bed with the TV on, but the volume down so I could hear if one of the kids called me, and I was almost asleep when I heard one of my siblings coming down the stairs. I opened my eyes a bit and waited for them to get to the bottom, but they never did. I didn't think much of it and closed my eyes and began to drift off again. A few minutes later, I heard it again. So I opened my eyes and waited, but again, they never got to the bottom. This time, I sit up and listen, a bit spooked, but nothing I could not handle. I got a bit nervous, but still, I go to check to see if they are there and maybe they are scared to come all the way down or something, and no one is there. Confused and thinking I must be dreaming it up, I go back to bed, this time closing one of the actual double doors. It was a few hours later, maybe around 2:30 a.m., when I feel like someone is very near me, as if they are standing right next to the bed, right in front of me. Usually when I open my eyes, I would see the green glow of the alarm clock on the bedside table, but this time I saw nothing. It was pitch black. I couldn't even see the hallway light on, and the TV had turned off on its own, and I felt like I couldn't move. I was awake now and scared to my bones. I was finally able to call out my husband's name loud enough to wake him up. He reached over and turned on the light, and right then, that scared feeling went away, and I was able to move. I freaked out and started crying, and I couldn't begin to explain to him what happened because even if I had, he didn't believe in those things. So I told him I was just having a nightmare and asked him to go check on the kids. And when he came back in, he said the kids were fine and we got back into bed. With the light on, I was finally able to fall back to sleep, but it took me forever. The next day, I told my mom about what happened, and then that's when she told me. She had been hearing footsteps on the stairs at night and even saw someone standing by the door at times. She didn't tell anyone because she didn't want to scare the kids. This is when she told me that what she had done. She wanted to know what was going on in her house, so she went and bought a voice recorder. One day, she decided to use it and went up the stairs while everyone was gone. She asked your typical questions of who is here? What do you want? Why are you here? And then said, you have passed away. I need to go into the light. You are not welcome here. The next day she decided to leave the recorder in one of the bedrooms upstairs while it was recording for about 4 hours while she was out running errands. I asked if he had checked on it, and to my surprise, she said she was too afraid to listen to it alone. I wanted to listen to it. So off we went to the computer and began listening to it after it was uploaded. During the 4 hours she was gone, you could hear something clicking or tapping, sounds of a drawer opening and closing, but we weren't for sure. And then we listened to the part where she was asking questions. Now you could hear a sound that resembled a fan or maybe static coming out of the whole thing. So some sounds were indistinguishable, but the one we did hear chilled us to the core. When she asked, what do you want? It gave us an answer. The answer was Jamie. Now I'm changing my brother's name for security purposes, but yes, the answer was Jamie. It didn't answer any other questions except for that one. I cried immediately. He wasn't having night terrors for no reason. Something was there for him every single night. We soon asked a friend to cleanse the house, and for a long time, everything was okay. My brother stopped having night terrors, my mom was able to sleep comfortably, and all was good again. Until now, I have been living in this house for about a month and a half. For the last 3 weeks, I have been seeing things everywhere, especially when I am alone. Because of this, I won't stay alone anymore. I get this strong feeling of being watched, and I had the feeling of someone pulling on my blanket at night. I think it's time for another cleanse. Oh, and just an FYI, I am a third generation on my mother's side of the family that is able to see spirits. My dad's side of the family has in the past, before I was born, practiced black magic. I don't like speaking to them, and I won't dabble in any of the spiritual stuff most people do. I stay as far away from it as possible, and I recommend that you do too. Even if you are careful, these spirits can haunt you for a long time, even after you are gone. An update. So I'm living in the living room floor playing with my nephew. Mom's on the left couch and sister's on the right couch. My nephew has a toy piano that is made of cloth and can be folded up. This piano is behind us in the corner with all of my nephew's other toys, and we are talking and watching my nephew attempt to walk when this piano makes a sound. It's like someone is pressing the keys slowly. We stop and stare and then look at each other shocked, and then the keys are pressed rapidly until it finally shuts off on its own. My mom and I are not scared. My sister is terrified due to something happening to her from last night around midnight. This is a different story, and I will be posting it tomorrow. So that's pretty much it. That's the entire entry from Twilight Dreamer 87, again titled My Parents' Haunted House. As you can see, this is definitely a story full of ghostly encounters, not only from this woman whenever she was there before, but also now again moving back in, and then apparently having this type of encounter involving a strange entity, something dark enough to essentially black out an area of a room where she would normally see an alarm clock, a bright green alarm clock. But no, in this case, something was there intently watching her, obviously knowing she was there and realizing how much she was freaked out from it. And then also, of course, with that scary response involving it staying a name, Jamie in this case, when it came to what it wanted. Pretty creepy stuff, especially with the fact that apparently something is returning, and it left the story at a cliffhanger. I'll try to see if I can find the other entry here later on and then post it as a follow-up as well. But yes, as far as the encounter and how similar it was to a friend of mine's, my friend, she told me that her and her sister were living in an old house back when they were obviously like kids living in their parents' house. And in this case, they too had similar experiences. They would hear something walking up and down the stairs. They always got the sensation they were being watched. And on top of that, they would hear knocks, like they would hear something being within a vicinity where nobody was. And for some reason, they attributed this to a male ghost, like an actual a male ghost. And this person apparently lived there or did live there from before and still haunted that area. And so I asked my friend about it, if they ever did anything. And then she said no, because even though they lived there for a couple of years, they couldn't really tell their parents about it because they just wouldn't believe them. And then also, they really wouldn't much judge that they could do if they tried to cleanse it or get rid of it. They finally moved out from that household, but again, they always got the eerie sensation. That was one of the earliest experiences they had with haunted experiences, with paranormal encounters. And the fact that this ghost here in this story was trying to get to that little brother, again, it reminded me of that story with my friend and how you had that ghost trying to go after these two little girls at the time of the story. Freaky stuff. But if anybody has any more encounters on their end, any more haunted houses, stuff like that, then please post those comments below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.